Protagonists selected Commander Ernest E. Evans, US Navy, USS Johnston is defiant. Documented decisions and last stand turned a hopeless this match into one of the most shocking actions in naval history. You do not charge a battleship with a destroyer. That is the rule everyone knows. A destroyer is thin-skinned steel, built for speed and escort duty, not for slugging matches with capital ships. Battleships carry guns the size of small cars, armor measured in feet, and the authority of decades of naval doctrine. Cruisers exist to screen them. Destroyers exist to die buying time. Every navy on Earth accepts this hierarchy. The Japanese Imperial Navy believes in it with near religious certainty. Their battle line battleships, heavy cruisers, veteran crews represents decisive power. Against that, escort carriers and a handful of destroyers are not an obstacle. They are a footnote. So when Japanese lookouts spot a small American-esque unit off Samar in October 1944, there is no alarm, no caution, no hesitation, because you do not fight a destroyer. You swat it aside. But in 1944, one American commander breaks that rule so completely that enemy officers cannot believe what they are seeing and an entire convoy turns away from victory. You meet Commander Ernest E when Evans at sea, not behind a desk. He is 35 years old. Cherokee and Creek heritage. Short, stocky, intense. He wears his cap low and speaks plainly. He believes in aggressive action to the point of obsession. When he takes command of the USS Johnston, a Fletcher-class destroyer, he tells his crew exactly what he expects. This is going to be a fighting ship. I intend to go in harm's way. The Johnston displaces just over 2,000 tons. She carries 5 5-inch guns, 10 torpedoes, and a crew of 327 men. She is fast over 36 knots, but she is fragile. One well-placed heavy shell can break her in half. In October 1944, Evans and his crew are assigned to Task Unit April 3rd 77, called Sandafi 3. Their mission sounds simple: protect a group of escort carriers providing air support for the light landings in the Philippines. Escort carriers are slow, lightly armed, designed to launch aircraft, not to survive surface combat. They rely entirely on destroyers like Johnston for protection. Strategically, Leyte is everything. It cuts Japan off from its Asia and Southeast Asia. Lose Leyte, and the Japanese war machine begins to starve. So the Japanese gamble everything on a last, desperate plan. A decoy carrier force draws away the American fast carriers. Then a powerful surface fleet for battleships, 6 heavy cruisers to light cruisers, and 11 destroyers punches through and annihilates the vulnerable invasion forces. At dawn on October 25th, that fleet appears out of the mist, and the only thing between it and the American carriers is you. Commander Evans stands on the bridge of the Johnston. Radar contacts multiply. Visual confirmation follows. Battleships, cruisers, an entire enemy armada, against 6 escort carriers, 3 destroyers. For destroyer escorts, the impossible challenge is no longer theoretical. It is 18,000 yards away and closing fast. The morning is gray, low cloud. Rain squalls. Visibility comes and goes in curtains of mist. At 6:37 a.m., Japanese shells begin splashing around the carriers. You feel the vibration through the deck plates as heavy guns open fire. Commander Evans does not wait for orders. He orders flank speed. The Johnston surges forward, alone, directly toward the enemy line. Think about that decision. You are taking a single destroyer and aiming it at battleships armed with 18-inch guns. Guns that can hit you from over 20 miles away. Guns designed to kill ships 10 times your size. Evans orders smoke deployed. Thick white clouds billow out, masking the carriers behind him. Range closes, 16,000 yards, 14,000 yards, 12,000 yards. Japanese lookouts report a destroyer charging straight at them. It makes no sense. At 10,000 yards, Evans orders torpedoes prepared. You hear the whine of the mount straining. Men sweat over firing circuits. Hands grip rails. At 9,000 yards, Japanese shells straddle the Johnston. Towering columns of water crash down, drenching the deck. The ship shudders but keeps coming. At 7,000 yards, Evans orders fire torpedoes. 5 torpedoes leap from the tubes. They run straight and true toward the heavy cruiser Kumano. Seconds stretch. Then the ocean erupts. At least 1 torpedo slams into Kumano's bow, blowing it off in a massive explosion. The cruiser veers out of formation, crippled. The Japanese line reels not because of the damage, but because of the audacity. A destroyer has just attacked a cruiser at point-blank range. Evans does not pull away. He turns the Johnston broadside and opens fire with his 5-inch guns. Shells hammer into enemy superstructures. You see fire start. Antennas collapse. Crews scatter. Japanese guns answer. A 14-inch shell hits near the engine room. Another tears through the ship, killing sailors instantly. The deck is slick with blood and seawater. Smoke fills the compartments. Speed drops. Power flickers. Evans is wounded by shrapnel, bleeding, but he stays on the bridge. He orders another attack run, this time against a battleship. The range closes again. 6,000 yards, 5,000 yards, 4,500 yards. Every instinct tells you this is suicide. But the Johnston keeps firing. Smoke pours out. The ship lists. Men fight fires with hoses and bare hands. Japanese commanders report something unbelievable: multiple American destroyers charging aggressively. Laying smoke, launching torpedoes, firing continuously. They do not see a screen. They see a counterattack. At 7:30 a.m., a shell destroys the Johnston's steering control. The ship begins responding only to engine commands. She zigzags awkwardly, wounded but alive. Evans orders the guns to keep firing. One by one, the 5-inch mounts fall silent as they are destroyed. Crewmen are killed at their stations. Others step forward without being told. You hear shouted rain justament. You smell burning paint and curdate. By now, the Johnston has drawn massive attention. Heavy cruisers concentrate their fire on her. Shells rip through the hull. The ship slows to under 20 knots. Failure feels inevitable. And yet behind the smoke, the escort carriers are still alive. Japanese ships begin maneuvering defensively. They turn away to avoid torpedoes that may not even exist. They break formation. What they don't know is that every minute they hesitate, American aircraft are launching armed with whatever they have. Depth charges, machine guns, even empty fuel tanks used as makeshift bombs. At approximately 9 a.m., the Johnston is nearly dead in the water. Her engines fail. Her guns are silent. Her deck is wreckage. Commander Evans gives the order to abandon ship. Men jump into oil-slicked water as the destroyer rolls. At 9:45 a.m., the USS Johnston slips beneath the waves. Commander Ernest Evans goes down with his ship. But the battle is not over. Mid-roll CTA if you find this kind of forgotten military history as fascinating as we do. We'd be honored if you'd hit that subscribe button. We believe these stories of courage and sacrifice deserve to be told, and by subscribing, you help ensure they aren't forgotten. From the Japanese flagship, the situation looks wrong. Reports are confused. Destroyers are attacking aggressively. Aircraft are swarming. Smoke obscures everything. Losses are mounting. Admiral Takao Kurita believes he is facing a much larger American force than expected. So he does something unthinkable. He orders a withdrawal. The most powerful surface fleet Japan ever assembled turns away from defenseless escort carriers because a handful of destroyers convinced it they were facing disaster. What they didn't know was how close they came. If Kurita presses the attack, the carriers are destroyed. The light landings are thrown into chaos. History bends in a darker direction. Instead, Task Unit Taffy 3 survives. The cost is brutal. 2 destroyers sunk. 1 destroyer escort sunk. Hundreds dead. But the invasion holds. The Japanese Navy never recovers its offensive power. The ripple from 1 destroyer's charge spreads across the Pacific. Commander Ernest Evans is awarded the Medal of Honor posthumously. Many of his crew are barely out of their teens. They come from Texas, Oklahoma, California, New York. Farm boys, mechanics, students. Some survive hours in the water before rescue. Some do not. To this day, the wreck of the USS Johnston rests over 20,000 feet below the surface, one of the deepest shipwrecks ever discovered. Why does this story matter now? Because history is not changed only by fleets and admirals. Sometimes it is changed by one commander who refuses to accept the rule. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. Every click tells the algorithm this piece of history is worth remembering. We're dedicated to rescuing these forgotten stories from the archive. If you want to join us on this mission, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment with your city or state, and tell us if someone in your family served. Thank you for ensuring that Commander Ernest Evans and the 327 men of the USS Johnston do not disappear into silence. They deserve to be remembered.